at the age of 5 was my first experience in agriculture. I remember arriving at 7 in the morning. I would see so many strawberry fields. And basically, what my parents told me that what my duty was to pick the red strawberries, place them in my Halloween bucket because that's what they told me to bring along with me. So I was wearing jeans, pink shoes, a long sleeve shirt, and a hat, and my pink bucket, and I would pick the red strawberries. And once I filled up my bucket, I would give them to either my mom or my dad.
I remember that they had got my trick-or-treating basket and they turned it into a cherry picking basket. Mm-hmm. Instead of having the handle, it had a string, and I would just pick whatever I could from the bottom of the trees.
I started working in agriculture when I was around 13 years old with my mother. So she's still a single mom by that time. At that point, I was like, I want to help my mother out. And she was trying to make a living to feed her 2 kids. And it was hard sometimes because I would ask myself, I'd be like, why are we living like this? I remember one of my memories was at 5 years old. I asked my mother, I was like, where's our dad? Because I was like, that's the first time like I had thought about that. And I was like, everyone else has one. I was like, where's mine? And she was like, I'm both your mom and your dad. I was like, that's cool, I guess. So we started working in tobacco. We would wake up around 4 in the morning and we would get picked up at like around 5 and we would drive to our location. Sometimes it'd be an hour away or 2 hours away or maybe 30 minutes. We never knew where we were going to go. And not once, I remember not once they asked for my age or anything.
I would migrate to Michigan during the summer after finishing school in Florida. So go do a 17-hour drive to Michigan for the blueberries. So in the blueberries, what we do is we usually wear like jeans, long sleeve shirt, a hat, a bandana, or anything that protects us from the sun. The only thing that is exposed in the sun is mostly our hands. So we would hand pick the blueberry. We would have 2 buckets tied to our waist. I would usually get 6 buckets in total. I would carry all 6 buckets on my own to put them in like plastic container crates and have them weighed. And on average, the 6 buckets would weigh around 42 to 45 pounds, depending how big the blueberries are. So we would get paid like 45 cents to 55 cents a pound.
Once you enter the fields of tobacco, the tobacco plants, since they're so tall, they collect heat. So when you're working in them, it could be like 100 degrees outside since it's summertime. But inside of them, actually working, it feels much harder than that. I remember I would get really dehydrated during the summers. Like, it just got really bad. But I would just be like, oh, I'm going to drink more water. But not even drinking the water, it doesn't make up for how much lip fluids you're losing. Like, all the sweat you're sweating out from like for 12 hours, 6 days a week. Your body just, it goes really tired, really weak, really fast.
And then the humidity made it worse. It was about like 90 degrees outside, but humidity made it feel like it was 100 degrees outside. There was no shade around. So I would stay there and help until the end of the day, which was like around 4 or 5. I was very tired. I had a headache. My face was very red. I also skipped dinner and a shower and just went straight to bed. And then the next day, I repeated that day working.
Like, I would get exhausted from the heat, but not that. But since I was always like this on my back, like getting all the cherries, picking out the leaves, like I would always remember my neck was so sore that I wouldn't even feel comfortable to lay on it. That was very hard on the body.
You're there 12 hours without any way of getting home, without any way of getting anywhere. You're basically stranded on that little bit of land. And if you have to use the bathroom, and if there's no bathroom there, you have to go into the woods. Privacy was not a thing in tobacco. In tobacco, morning dew. So morning dew is like this little wet, like the tobacco is just wet. And so if that gets on you, like in your skin, it has nicotine in it because of the tobacco. It has nicotine in it. What workers did back then was they would get trash bags. They'd bring trash bags from home and they'd wear it. They'd wear the trash bag to create a barrier between them and the tobacco.
My dad has never been like the one to be like, oh, you're meant to stay home, you're meant to cook. He's always been the one to, you're a girl, you have it the hardest because you're a girl. That's the reality in it. He's like, but the good thing in it is that you always have that voice and you need to use that voice. Meaning you're only going to be able to advocate for you, and you should always be able to use your voice to do what it is meant to do, to be able to advocate for others, not just like my sister, but like farm workers too.
When I started, when I was 13, I think it was around $6 I was getting paid. I think when I was 18, I was getting paid $9 an hour. And to me, that was really good. But now it's like $9 for that work was not enough at all. I get paid, people at McDonald's get paid more. And I'm like, they should get paid more. People in agriculture really should get paid a lot more for what they're doing. We were working in the fields, and then the field next to us, they were spraying pesticides. So the pesticides would blow from that to us, and it was really bad. Everyone got really mad. They were like, it smells bad. There was pesticides being put on us, and we ended up quitting that day. Some of the adults were like, there's kids working, so they just pulled everyone out. They're like, we're not going to work in these conditions.
A lot of people like to succeed because they want more for their family. Like they want to be able to educate not just their family, but they want to be able to educate the community like as a whole. So that's why they always kind of like depend on us too as like farm worker children. So besides having like the burden to actually work in the fields, like we have that burden to like succeed for them in a way. I feel like it's just more like that pressure of always like having high expectations of me. So like just more like focused on school, I guess, and they kind of like started telling me like, oh, why aren't you coming to family gatherings? Why aren't you doing this? And it was like, what? Like you guys wanted this for me. I want this for me too. They want to support me, but at the same time, they don't know how to do it. They want to be able to help me and be able to be there, but then at the same time, it's kind of hard because it's like they want to enjoy me too. And I'm like, but this is the reality in it. This is how a student's supposed to live their life. Like they're always studying, they're always working.